The first time Commander Leona Vasquez saw a DRKS ship, she mistook it for a storm front, dark, endless, and humming with lightning. It rolled over the Pacific like a god's regret. Within minutes, the skies tore apart and the cities below were erased, not bombed, not burned, but unwritten. Now, 2 years later, Earth was a graveyard of static and ash. Leona stood on a cracked tarmac outside a half-buried hangar near what used to be McMurdo Station. The air was too thin, the wind too loud, and the sun too pale. She adjusted the collar of her frostbitten parka and glanced at the figures huddled around a makeshift antenna array. If that signal doesn't start talking soon, Raj, I'm melting it down for coffee filters. Dr. Raj Mehta didn't look up from the tangle of wires and alien metal he was soldering. Commander, if you melt this, you'll be sipping from humanity's last working transceiver. It took me 3 days and a toaster to make it sing. Then make it sing louder, she said. The machine whined, spat a spark, and began to hum. Mira Cho clapped her gloved hand together. See? Positive energy. Machines feel intention. Raj snorted. Machines feel voltage, not vibes. Mira smiled in that maddeningly serene way of hers. Voltage is a kind of vibe. Leona almost laughed. Almost. Humor felt like a muscle that had atrophied since the invasion, but Mira had a way of keeping alive, like some kind of reckless archaeologist digging through the rubble of hope. Dex Harper emerged from the shadow of a broken shuttle, chewing on a protein ration as if it were gum. Are we done flirting with the end of the world yet? Because the drones up there looked twitchy. He pointed skyward, where tiny black dots drifted against the pale horizon. Alien sentinels, scanning for heat signatures. We're not flirting, Raj said. We're surviving. Poorly. Semantics, Dex said, smirking. Leona glanced at the team. The last 4 members of Task Force Phoenix, a name that felt cruelly ironic now. Each of them had been something different before the fall. Soldiers, scientists, smugglers, dreamers. Now they were what remained of humanity's nerve, a stubborn cluster of minds refusing extinction. The array crackled. Static gave way to alien tones, rising and falling in an eerie cadence. Myra's eyes widened. That's not a patrol signal. It's searching for something. Leona stepped closer. Translate. I can't, Mira said, brow furrowed. Not fully. It's referencing coordinates, repeating ancient geocentric markers. Raj glanced over her shoulder. Those numbers, those are terrestrial. They're scanning Earth. For what? Leona asked. Raj hesitated, then whispered. Energy signatures. Massive ones. Deep under the surface. Mira tapped a sequence into her tablet, pulling up an old global topography map. Look, Giza, Machu Picchu, the Andes, the Antarctic Ridge. These places were sacred in nearly every culture. Dex raised an eyebrow. You saying the aliens are sightseeing? Myra's expression hardened. No, I'm saying they're afraid of something we've forgotten. Leona's stomach sank. She had seen the DRKF turn orbital bombardments into routine exercises. The idea that they feared anything was new and dangerous. Raj, record and decode everything. Mira, cross-reference those coordinates. Dex, prep the transport. We're moving. Commander, Raj protested. We don't even know what's down there. Exactly, Leona said. That's what terrifies them. And if it terrifies them, it's our only chance. The transport shuddered through a gale of ice and static, its engines whining in protest. Dex's hands danced over the controls with the casual grace of a man who'd long since accepted death as a co-worker. You know, he said over the roar of the wind, this thing's older than me, and I'm pretty sure I've been condemned twice. Focus, Leona said, bracing herself against the wall. Focusing, Dex replied, on not dying. Raj's voice cut in from the rear compartment. Our scanners are picking up an anomalous heat bloom 3 clicks below the surface. It's oscillating, like it's breathing. Mira, leaning against the viewport, whispered, maybe it's been waiting. Leona didn't answer. Waiting for what? Humanity to be desperate enough to dig into its own myths? She'd learned long ago that survival often looked like madness from the outside. The The transport descended into a fissure, guided by flickering beacon lights. The interior sensors struggled to stay online. As they broke through the last layer of ice, the reading spiked. Raj swore under his breath. That's not geothermal. It's structured energy. The frequency is... No, that's impossible. Try me, Leona said. It's human. Or it was... The ground trembled. A deep, resonant hum filled the air, vibrating to the hull and into their bones. Mira closed her eyes. It's not just energy. It's a language. Then it's saying something loud enough to wake the dead. Dex muttered. The ice ahead began to glow, not blue, but gold, pulsing like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Raj, kill the engines, Leona ordered. We land here. The transport skidded onto a frozen ledge, ice shattering around them. When the engines powered down, the silence was absolute, a living, waiting silence. They disembarked cautiously, crunching across the uneven surface. Raj set up a scanner, its display pulsing erratically. Commander, the signals, it's responding to us, to human biometrics. Mira stepped forward, her breath fogging in the air. It recognizes us. Recognizes? Leona asked. Like an AI? Like kin, Mira whispered. The ice cracked. A fissure spread outward in a spiral pattern, glowing brighter with each heartbeat. Beneath them, something vast stirred, not mechanical in the alien sense, but old, organic, and impossibly intricate. Dex swore and drew his rifle. Okay, that's new. The fissure widened, revealing a metallic lattice beneath the ice, colossal and circular, like the iris of a sleeping eye. The hum deepened, and the ground itself seemed to breathe. Leona stepped back, shielding her eyes from the growing light. Raj, shut it down. I can't. Raj shouted over the roar. It's feeding off our readings. The light erupted upward, a column of golden fire piercing the frozen cavern. For a moment, Leona saw shapes within it, titanic silhouettes of armor and stone, wings of energy unfurling. Myra's voice was barely audible. The Guardians, the old stories were true. Dex looked at her, eyes wide. Guardians of what? Before she could answer, the alien drones appeared, 3 dark shapes descending from the fissure's edge, weapons glowing with cold plasma. Leona raised her rifle, the others following suit. The nearest drone fired, but the energy bolt never reached them. A shimmer rippled across the air, and a beam of golden light lanced upward from beneath the ice, vaporizing the drones in silence. When the smoke cleared, the fissure pulsed once more and then dimmed, retreating into stillness as if nothing had happened. Raj's scanner flickered out. Mira stared at the ice, trembling. They weren't buried, she said softly. They were sleeping. Leona holstered her weapon, pulse hammering. The others turned to her for direction. Commander? Raj asked. Leona exhaled slowly, staring into depths where ancient light had just burned. We just rang Earth's doorbell, she said. Let's hope whoever answers is on our side. Outside, the storm began to rise again, howling, furious, alive, and somewhere deep below the ice, something answered. The world below the ice was not dead, only dreaming. Leona Vasquez felt that truth in her bones as the elevator cage descended through the glacier's wound. The metal groaned with every meter, echoing through a shaft carved not by tools, but by design. The walls glimmered faintly, inscribed with patterns older than civilization. Raj met his flashlight, swept across the carvings. These aren't random etchings, he murmured. They're schematics, circuits written in stone. Mira Cho traced one symbol with a gloved finger, her breath trembling in the frigid air. No language. They used structure as syntax. Whoever built this didn't separate art from function. Dex Harper leaned against the railing, unimpressed. Pretty walls, still freezing. Focus, Leona said. We're not tourists. But even she couldn't tear her eyes away from the impossible. The shaft opened into a cavern so vast it could have swallowed a mountain. Luminescent veins of gold ran across the rock, converging in a titanic structure at heart, a pyramid of obsidian and light, hovering inches above the ground. Raj's voice cracked. That thing's generating a magnetic field strong enough to warp our instruments. If it collapses, we'll be part of the rock record. Let's not let it collapse, then, Leona said, stepping forward. The ground underfoot was metal, smooth, responsive, alive. Her boots left no prints, yet faint ripples of light followed each step. She raised her hand. The pyramid pulsed once, like a heartbeat acknowledging her. Mira whispered, "It's waiting." "For what?" Dex asked, scanning the shadows. "For us," she replied. They made camp near the pyramid's base, or as close a rest as humans could manage, in a place that hummed with intelligence. Raj unpacked a portable console, connecting it to his patched-up scanner. The readings came in chaotic waves, as if the machine couldn't decide what laws of physics applied. "It's not alien," he muttered. "The energy matrix follows human quantum signatures, but at a scale centuries beyond us. This tech shouldn't exist." Leona crossed her arms. Could it be alien built using human data? Raj shook his head. No, the core harmonics match human neural frequencies. This was made for us, or by something that was us. Mira, sitting cross-legged with her tablet, nodded. The myths talked about the guardians of the deep earth, machines forged in the first age to protect the world from the skyborn. Nobody ever took it literally. Dex sighed. "So what? We got sleeping robot angels under Antarctica?" "Guardians," Mira corrected softly. "Not angels." Leona didn't care what they were called, only that they could fight. Humanity was out of soldiers and miracles both. "Raj, can you communicate with it?" He grimaced. "Define communicate. I can make it blink at us, if that counts." "Do it." He connected a fiber relay and typed a sequence. The pyramid's glow intensified, casting their shadows across the walls. Symbols bloomed across its surface, rearranging themselves like thought in motion. Then the lights dimmed. A deep tone reverberated through the air, neither mechanical nor organic, but aware. Dex said, "I think it just noticed us." Myra's eyes darted over the shifting symbols. "It's testing input, not language, but pattern recognition. It's asking a question." Leona crouched beside her. "What kind of question?" "Something like, identify yourself." Raj whistled. "Let's hope it likes our answer." "Tell we're human," Leona said. Mira hesitated. "That might not mean anything to it." "Then tell it we're Earth." Mira entered the translation, a symbol representing planet, flesh, and fire. The pyramid went still. Then a second tone resonated, higher, almost melodic. The carvings on the cavern walls flared to life, cascading outward in ripples of light. Raj's console exploded with readings. Energy surge. The whole system's waking up. "Shut it down," Leona ordered. "I can't. It's bypassing the relay." The ground trembled. Chunks of ice and stone rained from the ceiling. From beneath the pyramid, vast shapes began to emerge. Limbs of bronze and crystal, faces sculpted in serene resolve. Giants older than memory stood awakening, their eyes burning with the same golden light. Mira fell to her knees, awed. "The Guardians, they remember us." Raj shielded his face from the glare. "They remember something. Whether they like what we become is another question." Leona raised her voice over rumble. "Everyone back to the elevator. Now!" But the exit shaft was already sealing, not by collapse, but by design. Plates of light wove themselves into a barrier. Dex swore. "We're trapped." "No," Mira said softly. "We're being tested." The largest Guardian stepped forward, easily 50 meters tall, humanoid but not human. Its gaze swept over them, a pressure that felt like standing before judgment itself. Then a voice, not heard but felt, filled their minds. "Children of the second dawn, you have awakened the warden of Earth." Leona flinched at the intrusion, but forced herself upright. "We're not your children," she said aloud. "We're survivors. Humanity is dying up there. Aliens have burned our world." The voice replied, cold and slow. "The skyborn return. The circle repeats. You are unproven." Raj groaned. "Fantastic. Ancient extinction loops. My favorite." Leona squared her shoulders. "Then test us." Whatever your creators faced, we've faced worse. A silence like eternity followed. Then the cavern shifted. The light warped, and suddenly they stood in a barren wasteland. Not Antarctica, but a simulation of Earth's scorched black. Above them, alien ships blotted the sky. Raj's instruments went dead. We're inside its mind. Or it's inside ours, Mira said, awestruck. The Guardian's voice echoed through the illusion. Show your worth. End the cycle. A swarm of DRCat drones materialized, their plasma weapons screaming to life. Dex raised his rifle instinctively, firing bursts that vanished into smoke. I'm starting to hate this planet's special effects. Leona barked orders, pure instinct. Raj, find us an exit. Mira, whatever this is, rewrite it. It's a psychic field. Mira shouted. Respond with thought, not fear. Leona closed her eyes, focusing on memory, on sunlight, laughter, music, humanity. The illusion flickered. Raj added focus. The smell of ozone, the pulse of machines repaired by willpower and spite. The battlefield warped, and the drones disintegrated. The wasteland melted back into the cavern. The Guardian loomed above them, silent, evaluating. You endure. You adapt. You remember. The pyramid flared once more, and the wall of light blocking the elevator dissolved. Raj exhaled shakily. Was that approval or indigestion? Mira smiled faintly. It means we pass. Dex kicked a shard of ice. Barely. Leona looked up at the now dormant Guardian. No, it means Earth just gave us permission. Permission for what? Raj asked. Leona turned toward the elevator, eyes hard with resolve. To wake the rest. The Guardian's cavern no longer hummed with mystery. It thrummed with purpose. The awakening had rippled to the planet like a heartbeat, and every satellite orbiting the dead Earth had felt it. The DRA Keth were coming. Commander Leona Vasquez stared at the holographic display Raj projected across the metal floor. Waveforms of approaching ships. Hundreds of them, descending through orbit. So, Dex said, arms crossed, we poke one sleeping god, and now the neighbors noticed. They were already watching, Raj muttered. His fingers danced over console. Now they're scared. Mira knelt beside the glowing pyramid's base, tracing the newly lit conduits with reverent fingers. The Guardian's signal went planetary. They're connected, every one of them. Machu Picchu, Giza, the Andes all resonating in sync. Meaning, Leona asked, meaning the Guardians are trying to wake each other. Raj said, but the network's dying. Power fluctuations, decayed infrastructure. It's like trying to jumpstart a heart with a car battery. Dex smirked. So we just need a bigger car. Leona leaned over the hologram, her shadow cutting through the light. Options. Raj hesitated. There's one. The DRA Keth power cores use antimatter containment fields. If I can hijack one, I could channel it into the Guardian Matrix. But if the feedback misfires, it'll take half the continent with it. Dex finished. Leona nodded once. Then we do it carefully. Raj blinked. That's not a plan. That's optimism wearing body armor. Humanity's last export, Dex said. They moved quickly, above ground. The air trembled with approaching ships. The Arctic horizon glowed faintly red, ion trails and plasma engines cutting through the clouds. Leona led them through the narrow tunnels back to the surface transport. The cold bit deep, but adrenaline burned hotter. Raj worked furiously as they prepped the vehicle. We'll need direct access to a DRA Keth core. Closest target's one of their planetary stabilizers, 20 clicks north. Mira slid into her seat, tablet balanced on her knees. Those stabilizers harvest geothermal energy. If we rupture one, it'll be like detonating a volcano. Not rupture, Raj said. Borrow, temporarily. Borrowing implies returning, Dex said, gunning the engines. We'll see. The transport leapt forward across the ice. Wind screamed around them. But inside the cabin there was only the steady rhythm of focus, the sound of a species refusing to vanish quietly. They reached the stabilizer under cover of storm. It was colossal, an obsidian spire rising from the ice, its surface alive with crawling red light. Drones circled it like hornets. Leona watched through the scope of her rifle. Raj, how long to tap that core? If everything goes perfectly, 30 minutes. Nothing's gone perfectly in 2 years. Then maybe we're due, Raj muttered. Dex grinned, checking his weapon. I'll buy you your 30 minutes. Leona's voice cut low and even. We go silent. In and out. Mira, stay linked to the Guardian network. If we lose comms, you finish the sequence remotely. Mira nodded, though her hands trembled slightly. If this works, it'll amplify the Guardians globally. If it fails, Leona met her eyes. Then Earth gets one last light show. They move like ghosts across the ice. Dex and Leona took point, neutralizing the perimeter drones with silent precision. Raj and Mira followed, hauling the modified conduit pack, an ugly fusion of alien metal, human wiring, and desperate genius. At the base of the stabilizer, Raj knelt beside a pulsing conduit. This is it. Power core is 3 levels down. I'll need to bridge alien current to human hardware. Raj, Leona said, scanning the ridge. Simplify. Don't die, he translated dryly. Good. Dex climbed the scaffolding to higher ground, setting motion sensors and charges. If company shows up, I'll make noise. He meant if they get caught. He always did. The hum of the stabilizer deepened as Raj connected the last line. Sparks leapt, and the conduit blazed alive. Connection stable, he said, eyes flicking across the monitor, feeding power to the Guardian core now. Beneath their feet, the ground trembled. Across the ice, lines of golden light spread like veins. Mira gasped as symbols flared to life on her tablet. They're responding. Giza, Machu Picchu, they're waking. Leona almost allowed herself to breathe. Then Dex's voice crackled over comms. Heads up, lovebirds. We've got company. The horizon bloomed with crimson light. Alien gunships descending in formation. Plasma fire streaked across the snow, exploding near the stabilizer. Raj! Leona shouted. How long? 2 minutes. You've got 1. Dex opened fire, his shots precise and defiant. Come on, you intergalactic mosquitoes. Leona joined him, covering the approach. The air filled with the scream of plasma bolts and the smell of scorched ice. Mira huddled near Raj, shielding his equipment with her body. They're locking onto us. Raj gritted his teeth. Almost there, just need to synchronize the polarity. English. Leona yelled. More power. Dex grinned. Now you're talking my language. He broke from cover, sprinting toward his ship anchored nearby. The Wendigo, scarred but still flying. Leona shouted after him. Dex, wait. He turned, flashing his crooked grin. Relax, Commander. Just borrowing something. He climbed into the cockpit and gunned the engines. The ship roared to life, its core glowing dangerously bright. Raj's eyes widened. He's using his antimatter reactor as a bridge. He'll blow himself apart. Mira shook her head, awe and terror mixing. No, he's giving us enough power to finish it. The stabilizer's glow turned white hot. Energy surged into the Guardian network. Raj's console screamed with data. It's working. The Heart Guardian's waking. Then finish it. Leona shouted. Outside, alien fire tore through clouds. 1 bolt hit the Wendigo dead on. The ship spiraled upward, trailing fire, but Dex's voice came through the comm, laughing. Tell the galaxy humanity's last pilot was on time for once. Then static. The stabilizer exploded in a bloom of light that rolled across the ice like dawn. Leona threw herself over Mira as the shockwave passed. When she looked up, the sky was alive. Columns of gold erupted across the horizon, guardians rising from the earth, each one towering, radiant, impossibly vast. From orbit to desert to ocean trench, Earth itself awakened. Raj's voice broke through the silence. Power transfer complete. The Guardians are online. Mira stared at the sky, tears freezing on her cheeks. He did it. Leona stood, watching the heavens ignite. Alien ships began to fall, their engines failing under the planet's rebirth. No, she said quietly. We did. Raj looked at her, weary and hollow-eyed. And if we just turn the planet into a weapon? Leona gave a faint, fierce smile. Then it's the last one they'll ever underestimate. The sky split open as the first Guardian launched into the clouds, its wings of energy spanning continents. The shock wave rolled outward, tearing through the alien fleet like paper. Mira whispered, almost in prayer, "They were never gone, just waiting for us to be worth saving." Leona turned from the light, jaw set, eyes unblinking. "Then let's make sure we stay that way." Behind her, the world burned gold. The sky no longer burned. It shimmered. From the shattered ice plains of Antarctica to the glass deserts of Asia, the Guardians stood like titans of light, silent, immovable, watching. Their emergence had silenced the Diraketh armada. Ships once unstoppable now drifted as wreckage, their black hulls tumbling through a dawn they hadn't expected Earth to survive. Commander Leona Vasquez watched the wreckage fall through the thin atmosphere. Each streak of fire across the horizon was a funeral pyre, alien or human. It no longer mattered. Survival had a cost, and they had paid it. Raj Mehta sat against the broken console, his arm in a crude sling, his skin illuminated by the pale gold of the Guardian's glow. "We tapped into planetary consciousness," he murmured. "You know that, right? We turned on something that sees time like a heartbeat. How does one even comprehend that?" Mira Cho knelt beside him, her voice quiet but certain. "Maybe we're not supposed to. Maybe we're just supposed to listen." Raj gave a weak chuckle. "Listening got us invaded. Listening also got us this far," she said, glancing at the enormous silhouette outside the shattered outpost dome, a Guardian standing knee-deep in the ice, its eyes dim but alive, as though waiting for instruction. Leona turned from the viewport. "Raj, status on the network?" He exhaled slowly. "Planetary lattice stabilized. Power flows balanced, but barely. Whatever these things are, they're tied into the Earth's magnetic field. They move. The planet moves with them." "Then they're part of us," Mira said. Leona studied her. "Or we're part of them." A faint chime broke the silence. Raj's remaining screen flickered, then steadied. A new signal pulsed, weak, rhythmic, unmistakably human. "Someone's alive," Raj said, pushing himself upright. "Northern Hemisphere. Looks like what's left of Geneva Command." Leona's jaw tightened. Geneva, once the beating heart of global unity, now probably a ruin like everything else. Still, a signal meant survivors, and maybe a future. "Can you reach them?" "Maybe," Raj said, fingers flying, transmissions degraded, but wait. The screen filled with static, then resolved into a flickering image, a haggard officer framed by smoke. "This is Colonel Idris of Geneva Command. To any surviving forces, alien fleet in full retreat. Earth's atmosphere destabilized in multiple zones, but the sky, it's healing. If anyone hears this, we're still here." The feed died. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Mira smiled through tears. "We're not alone." Leona turned to Raj. "Can we broadcast?" "Yeah, but the Guardian's field will distort anything digital. We'll need analog, old-school radio." Leona nodded. "Then we go analog." Hours later, the blizzard had returned, thick and relentless, but it carried no malice now, only life. The team stood near the collapsed antenna array where this all began, patching together what pieces remained. Mira adjusted the signal amplifier. "Feels poetic," she said. "The end of the world, and we're using 20th century tech to announce the sequel." Raj smirked. "Don't get sentimental. Mira, that's how horror movies start." Leona tightened the cable, her movements efficient, deliberate. "If this is a horror story, we're the monsters that learn mercy." The transmitter crackled to life. Raj flicked a switch. "You're on, Commander." Leona leaned toward the microphone. "This is Commander Leona Vasquez of Task Force Phoenix. Earth lives. The invaders are retreating. The Guardians, our Guardians, stand with us. If you can hear this, regroup, rebuild, return. Humanity is not finished." The words left her lips like a promise and a threat in equal measure. They stood listening as the message echoed into static. Somewhere beyond the storm, the signal would find other survivors. Mira broke the silence first. What happens now? Leona stared out across the tundra, where golden light pulsed faintly beneath the ice, like a heartbeat too large to comprehend. Now, she said, we learn what we woke up. Raj frowned. You think the Guardians are still listening? Leona's gaze stayed distant. I think they never stopped. As if answering her, the nearest Guardian turned its head. The motion was slow, deliberate, graceful. Its eyes ignited, twin suns piercing the storm. The wind itself seemed to bow before the movement. A voice, not sound but thought, brushed their minds. The circle breaks. The sky-born fall. The children remain. Mira shivered. It's them, Raj muttered. And they're poetic. The voice deepened, resonant as the earth's core. The balance must be kept. The Guardians endure through the children. Will you bear the mantle? Leona looked at her team. Exhausted, scarred, human. She thought of Dex, lost but not gone, his laughter echoing in memory. Humanity had survived not because it was strong, but because it refused to be predictable. She straightened. We will, but on our terms. The Guardian inclined its head, light cascading to the storm like dawn breaking. Then rise, heirs of Earth. Protect this world as we once did. The connection faded. The Guardian stilled once more, waiting, silent, watching. Raj rubbed his temples. So we just got promoted? Seems that way, Mira said softly. From survivors to stewards. Leona looked at the horizon, where the wreckage of the alien fleet still burned against clouds. Then we started acting like it. Days passed. The storm thinned. Across the globe, humanity began to stir again. Scattered survivors found one another, guided by echoes of Leona's broadcast. The Guardians, colossal and unmoving, had become beacons, each one radiating a signal of warmth where life could return. Leona's team worked tirelessly to coordinate what remained of the global network. Raj rigged drones from alien debris. Mira compiled the fragments of every surviving language into one new tongue, a lexicon of hope. Sometimes, when the nights were quiet, they thought they heard Dex's voice through static. Half a laugh, half a ghost. Maybe he's out there, Raj said once. Leona didn't answer. She only looked skyward, where a faint, blinking light traced a distant orbit. Weeks later, as dawn spread across the rebuilt outpost, Mira recorded the first entry of a new age. Her voice carried through the cold air, clear and steady. They came as conquerors. They left as warnings. Humanity rose from ashes and found its past waiting beneath its feet. We learned that survival isn't about strength. It's about stubbornness, imagination, and the refusal to stay down. The Guardians didn't save us. They reminded us what we already were. She paused, then smiled faintly at the recorder. We're the Guardians now. Leona watched from a distance, arms folded, the faintest smile ghosting her lips. The wind caught her words when she finally spoke. Let's make sure we earn it. Behind her, the Guardian's eyes glowed once more, soft, approving. Above them, the sky cleared, vast and new, a canvas waiting for humanity's next story. And somewhere, beyond the veil of stars, the Derek listened to the echoes of Earth's rebirth and finally understood the universe's oldest truth. Humans never stayed conquered for long.